So we've talked about the power and the purpose of the Book of Mormon as Moroni introduced it on the title page. There's other stuff that is in the Book of Mormon, right there, the front matter, that we should talk about, where it comes from, why it matters.
Yeah, it's interesting because some people, they turn from the title page to the next section, which is called the introduction. And a lot of people assume possibly the same thing, that might be on the same level as the scriptures themselves. When in reality, this is just an introduction that was added to the 1981 edition of the scriptures. And so it's important to keep in mind that this document is potentially going to be changed as we learn more and more and more things about the Book of Mormon. It's already been changed from the 1981 version to the 2013 version. They've already made some changes in it. But there are some things that are really powerful here, like Joseph Smith's statement where he said that he told the brethren that the Book of Mormon was the most correct of any book on earth and the keystone of our religion, and a man would get nearer to God by abiding by its precepts than by any other book. Some people assume that what he said was that you get nearer to God by reading. He didn't say that. He said you get nearer to God by abiding by the precepts that we learn in this book. This is not a book that is intended just to make you smarter. Yeah. It's a book that's intended to help you live your life. It's a handbook for the covenant path, back to our title page. It's teaching you what it means to enter into and move forward in a covenant relationship with God. And it's powerful at that level.
Growing up, I didn't really care much about books. I think my mom would be proud to know that at this point, actually, I've read a lot of books. I think I was probably about age 22 before I discovered that books actually mattered. And I've read hundreds and hundreds of books. And that statement that the Book of Mormon, is the truest book, I've read a lot of books, and I absolutely know that to be true. I have drawn closer to Jesus because I've tried to live the principles taught in the Book of Mormon. Now, I've read a lot of other great books that have great things that have made my life better and beautiful. But the Book of Mormon, my witness is that it's the most literarily beautiful, doctrinally truthful, and everlastingly applicable book ever produced in the world.
It's remarkable. Now you turn the page to the section with the testimonies. This is fascinating because you have 3 witnesses gave their testimony. You have 8, and then you have 1, Joseph Smith. So 8 plus 3 plus 1, you've got 12 individual people testifying of the truthfulness of this book. Here is the important point for me. You've got 12 people saying this book was brought forth by the gift and power of God. Which one is the most important witness of all the witnesses? And obviously that's a trick question because the right answer is yours. Yours is the most important witness. All of these witnesses were put here in order to help you, to strengthen you in your capacity to come unto Christ and be perfected in Him through reading and abiding by these precepts and coming to know from your own experience that this book is translated by the gift and power of God.
And I really love the word testimony. It comes from the same word for test. Now, maybe you're going to break out in hives when you hear that word. I work at a university. We're testing students all the time. Well, the word test and testimony come from the same word. And a testimony is what you've tested. It's like when you get tested on something, it gives you experience to prove what you know or what you can do. And a testimony is that witness of what you've been tested on. And what's really powerful is, like I've told you, I've read lots of books. I've never seen a book ever conclude with, well, now that you've read this book, I want you to find out for yourself whether what I've said really is valid and true, and go talk to the source of all knowledge in the universe about it, right? God. And that's what Moroni does at the end of his writing. Put this book to the test, learn for yourself, and then you can have a testimony.
You know, Taylor, that's really good. Testimony. So for us today, the real test is, what do you need to do in order to add your testimony to these 12? Because at the end of the day, that's the only one that really matters for you.